Radio Weather Center.
Goodland's Rocket 102.5 is your home for Goodland High School athletics. From touchdowns and three-pointers to home runs, Ross Volkmer has you covered with all the action. Join him for live broadcast on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, your front row seat to the Cowboys and Cowgirls. Select games video streamed on the Goodland Voice. GHS athletics this season are made possible in part by
Farm Credit of Western Kansas, Miller Construction, S&M Recovery and Towing, Land to Legacy Real Estate, and Cornerstone Orthodontics.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas is hiring now, looking for technicians of all levels and a service advisor to join their team. Enjoy competitive wages, consistent work, plus 401k and health benefits, all in a great work environment. If you're ready for a rewarding career with a trusted dealership, apply today. Visit them in person on South Commerce Road in Goodland or apply on Facebook. Join the Earl Chevrolet GMC family today.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
Get ready for the Schilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th at 1 p.m. Central Time. With 60 Angus and 5 Limflex bulls and 10 Angus heifers, there's plenty to choose from. These are big, stout performance kind of cattle and great selection for Cavionese bulls. Check them out on Facebook at Schilling Cattle, or you can also watch the sale at TV Auction. The sale is located 6 miles north of the I-70 Exchange in Brewster, Kansas. Come check out great cattle, meet great people, and best of all, eat some fantastic food. So don't forget to mark your calendars for the Schilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th, 6 miles north of Brewster, Kansas.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
How about a walk-off grand slam? Touch of all time, Ryan McMahon.
The Blitz is presented by Earl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. Pitch. Rhett hammers one fair down the right field line. Extra base is coming. As to third goes Stokes. They're going to wave him around, and the throw is spiked into the ground by the right fielder. Stokes dives in head first, and Sandy has an RBI double. It's 5-2 K-State.
First pitch on the way. And he hammers it. Deep right center. Get out of here, Brady Ballinger. Are you kidding me?
I drive in the right. It's enough. It's back. And it's gone for the cycle. It's a walk-off grand slam. Florida State wins it.
And good Wednesday morning, everybody. Off and rolling here on March the 26th. Another beautiful day. My goodness, what a stretch of weather we have had. It is backyard weather these last few days. I mean, the family's been, we've been getting out, riding the bikes, and spending some time in the backyard. It's great. And the kids are sleeping good, too. So, I mean, my kids are good sleepers. I don't say that they're not good sleepers. I don't want to say that, but my point being is that, usually when you tucker them out outside, they're going to fall asleep a little bit faster. Sometimes that's an issue in the wintertime, but nonetheless, we're having some beautiful evening weather, and that'll continue today. Sunny, 76. Could be a little bit on the blustery side today. Could see a little bit more of the wind play a factor today. Tomorrow, we're going to get up into the 80s in some spots, even the upper 80s. Could be the warmest day of the year to this point in time tomorrow. Which is great because it's opening day of the high school baseball season for Goodland and Colby, and we'll have coverage of that doubleheader series right here on Goodland's Rock at 102.5. And so I look forward to having some nice weather to watch some baseball and to call some baseball in tomorrow as we get the 2025 spring sports season underway with GHS baseball and Colby baseball as well. Once again, good Wednesday morning. Glad you're with us here. We got a big show ahead today. We're going to discuss the NCAA tournament and spring training, a little bit of a MLB preview as well with our good friend and former co-host on this show, Dan Lucero, is going to stop by from WIBW Sports Talk. Look forward to visiting with Dan, joining us here in segment 2. We will get to some local news in the final segment surrounding Colby Community College baseball and softball. Colby baseball continues to be hot here after their day yesterday. A little bit of news as well for Fort Hays Tech Northwest track and a particular athlete. And we will get to some NFL news as well, some names and some new places that you need to know for the upcoming NFL football season. We will try and get to that in the walk-off. But we are going to get things going with a little bit more of a preview of March Madness as it continues. It'll be resuming action tomorrow. We'll have the Sweet 16 getting going with 4 games on Thursday, another 4 games on Friday. So the Sweet 16 is next. And I want to talk about this article I saw from CBS Sports. And Chip Patterson is the man who put this one together yesterday, talking about reseeding the NCAA tournament with the Sweet 16s, the Sweet 16 teams that are left standing. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. As always, if you'd like to chime in throughout the program, would love to hear from you on the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222. That's going to be part of the Morning Blitz here on this Wednesday morning, 785-899-2222. You can also chime in on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, where we've got, of course, up and rolling there live on YouTube, Facebook, and X, if you'd like to get your comments and thoughts in there as well. But I wanted to start off, once again, like I said, talking about re-ranking the Sweet 16. We know the 16 teams that are left standing in the men's college basketball field. We'll run through those, real quickly. You've got Arkansas, Ole Miss, Michigan, Purdue, Kentucky, BYU, Texas Tech, Arizona, Alabama, Michigan State, Maryland, Auburn, Tennessee, Houston, Duke, and Florida, the teams that are left standing in this upcoming Sweet 16. And CBS was able to dive through the deal. So it was kind of interesting to see, who was number one when the tournament was seeded. So the NCAA committee, who was the number one overall seed, and where do they sit here after the first 2 games of the tournament? And it was interesting. We'll start at the bottom and work our way to the top. So at number 16, the 16 team that's going that they consider to be, I guess they would say, is the worst team left in the field, is going to be Arkansas, who was a 10 seed. They were the number 37 team, according to the NCAA Tournament Committee ranking, but they are now number 16. Fellow SEC foe Ole Miss is at 15, up from their spot at number 24. So the SEC taking the last 2 spots of this Sweet 16, at least according to like if they were to reseed the NCAA tournament with the 16 teams that are left. 14 is Purdue.
They've pretty much not moved. They were considered the 14th best team when the tournament began. They are still the 14th best team. Michigan has jumped up a couple of spots from 17 to 13 in this ranking from Chip Patterson. BYU is number 12. They jumped up 9 spots from number 21. Kentucky was number 11 in the NCAA committee ranking. They are still number 11. Number 10 is Arizona. They moved up 6 spots from 16, according to Chip Patterson. Texas Tech remains the same at 9. Then you have Maryland jumping up from 15 to number 8. Michigan State will be sitting there at number 7, where they were number 7 heading into the tournament. Alabama still remains 6. Tennessee remains 5. So not a lot of shifting between 5, 6, and 7. Tennessee, Alabama, and Michigan State are kind of in the same spots, according to Chip Patterson, that they were when the tournament began. Where you see a little bit of reshuffling is in the top 4 seeds. Auburn, who was the number 1 overall seed, has dropped down to number 4. Houston remains at 3. Florida jumped up from number 4 to number 2. And then we see Duke make its way up to the number 1 spot. Now, is there anything in this that I would say is completely far-fetched? No, I don't believe so. I don't think anything is certainly crazy. I think teams that are like your Arkansas, your Ole Miss, your Purdue, those type of teams, I guess I would sit back and I would even, maybe the one that I'd say has got the highest rating that I don't know if I totally agree with is going to be Maryland. I don't have anything against Maryland. I think they're a good team. Derek Queen is an unbelievable post player. We all saw that move where it could have been a travel, but if you take out the travel, I mean, the ability to hit the fadeaway, Dirk Nowitzki kiss off the glass at the buzzer is something you just don't see very much. And so highly impressed with his play this last time out against Colorado State, and it was the best example of March Madness that we've had in this entire tournament. Was Maryland getting those couple? Again, it was Colorado with the buzzer beater, they thought, and then Maryland with the buzzer beater officially with less than 4 seconds left. But Maryland's depth to me is just not good enough, I think, to be maybe ranked. I mean, they're pretty much saying that that your Elite 8 is going to be Maryland, Michigan State, Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Houston, Florida, and Duke. That's pretty much what Chip Patterson, this article, would say. If you're those 8 teams, you would consider those teams to be the teams that are going to win and advance on. I don't know. I think that might be a little bit of a jump. I just don't know if Maryland has a ton of depth. I think Kentucky and Michigan, 2 teams that are 11 and 13 respectively, Kentucky 11, Michigan at 13. I think those are 2 teams that could be higher up in this reseeding. I think Kentucky has a ton of depth. They have really good scoring. They have a really good offensive coach in Coach Mark Pope. I feel like they've been a really good team, and they're a team to watch. And they're going to have to get through their rival in Tennessee in order to do that for the 3rd time this year. They've played already twice. Kentucky won both times, and they're going to have to get through them a 3rd time, which can be asking quite a bit. But Kentucky's got a lot of stuff going for it. And like I said, I think Michigan at 13 could be higher, possibly. I think they could be higher. They have got 2 things that a lot of teams don't have, and that's 2 very skilled 7-footers. Whether it's Vlad Golden with his shot blocking ability around the bucket, or maybe it's his ability to finish around the rim and to play off the lob is really impressed me. And then, of course, Danny White with his 7-foot ability to handle the basketball, to run the floor, to be able to knock down outside jumpers, as well as be a phenomenal passer. Those things right there make Michigan a little bit more of a sexier team. But at the same time, BYU is ahead of them. I like their scoring ability. Texas Tech is just really tough. I mean, physically and mentally tough. I think probably Arizona could drop back if I were to do my reseeding, Arizona would drop back. Maryland would drop back a little bit. I'd have Kentucky and Michigan moving up into those spots. I really don't have any issue for the most part with the top 7, though. I really don't. I think Duke has no doubt looked unbelievable. I think they won their first 2 games of the NCAA tournament by a combined 67 points. They have absolutely rolled in their first 2 games, and I'm just going to say that they've had, I think, a decently easy path for the most part. I think they've had a pretty easy path to this point. Things are really going to pick up here in the next couple of rounds, and that's what I want to see. I want to see, how does Duke respond when they get punched in the mouth? They really haven't been punched in the mouth all season long. They have been the ACC darlings all year long because of Cooper Flagg and the amazing talent that is around him, with other great star young players like Con Knipple, and not to forget about Tyrese Proctor, who's having an unbelievable tournament where he's 13 of 16 from 3. That's right, 13 of 16 from 3. There are big men that cannot go 13 of 16 from 2. Heck, Hunter Dickinson would struggle with that. So I think Duke has not really hit any sort of a rough spot where they got to play really good teams. And that's what we're going to see, I believe, here in this next round. I really do. I think we're going to see that. I think you're going to see, I don't know about Arizona, if that is going to happen. Maybe that's, I feel like their path is just, Baylor, Arizona's okay, but not great. They do have some, Caleb Love's an experienced player, but I don't know about the depth. I feel like in the next round, you get to the Elite Eight where you're going to have to take on who I think will be Alabama. Who knows? BYU might knock off Alabama. But Alabama is going to have a really talented team, one of the highest offensive scoring teams in the country, and also a very older team with Mark Sears at the point guard spot. I forget their big man, the transfer from North Dakota, but he's highly skilled at 7 foot. That's where I think they run into maybe some things that might hurt them. I'm waiting for Duke's youth to kind of catch up to them, and maybe it won't happen, but I feel like it possibly could. Excuse me. I think Florida at number 2 is a great spot. They could easily be number 1. They have everything that you need to be an NCAA championship team. It's not going to surprise me one bit if Florida is hoisting up the trophy for the 3rd time in my lifetime when this year is over. When this season is done. I really think they have a great chance because they have experience. They have outside shooting. They have an unbelievable amount of depth inside with bigs. It's unbelievable to see how good they have been this year and how deep they are, and Walter Clayton has been huge. It won't surprise me one bit if Florida's playing for a national championship. And you could honestly say that about all the top 4 seeds in this reseeding, because Houston at number 3, who I think once again is very, very good. They're so good defensively, and they play with such physicality and tenacity on both ends of the floor. They're an older team. They've got so much experience. They've been in a lot of these spots, and they've faced, I don't know, I guess in my opinion, they've faced a tough road. I mean, they got Gonzaga game. That's a very, very good Gonzaga team. And then they're going to take on a really good Purdue team. And if they get past Purdue, they got to take on either Kentucky or Tennessee. They have got a really hard path to get there, but I think they have the team to do it. I think that's what makes them very, very, very good. That's why I picked them, I guess, to win in my bracket at this point in time. And then I think you have practice, and then Auburn. I don't know. Auburn just seems like it has been a little bit of a struggle. Nothing is coming as easy as maybe as it should for Auburn being the number 1 seed, but they're going to be in Atlanta. They're going to have their crowd behind them. You would think, going to travel well over there to Georgia and be there in Atlanta. So I would think that'd be a decent advantage for them. Like I said, and then like Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan State, those are all teams that have a chance to be in the Final Four if they can get some things to go their way. So like I said, my biggest thing if I'm looking at this recently, I don't really have a lot of problems. I could see Michigan and Kentucky being the 2 lowest seeds that could make quite a run, because I think they've got the offensive firepower and the as well as the skill set on both of these teams, Michigan and Kentucky, to make a little bit deeper run than some people may think. But I do believe if Duke can make sure that their youth does not catch up to them, I think they have a really good chance of winning it all. But that's my biggest question with Duke, is their youth. Florida, Houston are 2 teams, once again, I really like because of their depth and experience. I like Auburn as well, although they're not a great Alabama as well. They're not a great defensive team. Auburn is really solid. Tennessee can really shoot it, but they've had a tough time getting past Kentucky. Maybe 3rd time the charm. It'll be very, very fascinating. Like I said, probably Maryland would be the team that I'd have a little bit moved down further in my bracket, because I think Maryland doesn't have the depth hang with some of these teams, I think personally. Anyway, we do have some listeners chiming in wondering where Max went. Max is no longer with us here at the company, unfortunately, listener Brian. Not my decision. I know people are probably asking that every morning. I know my wife said she had people asking her at her job. Max is just no longer with us at the company, is all I can say on that at this point in time. So unfortunately, you just get me for the foreseeable future at this point in time. It's kind of sad, but that's the truth. So there you go. Reseeding the Sweet 16 here on the Morning Blitz. Interesting article there on CBS Sports. If you want to go check it out by Chip Patterson, taking a look at those. So anyway, plenty more to get to here on this Wednesday show. Let's take a quick time out. When we come back, we're going to be joined by our good friend from WIBW Sports Talk. That is Dan Lucero, and talk a little Major League Baseball, probably NCAA tournament as well. That's all next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Wednesday morning.
Get ready for the Schilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th at 1 p.m. Central Time. With 60 Angus and 5 Limflex bulls and 10 Angus heifers, there's plenty to choose from. These are big, stout performance kind of cattle and great selection for Cavionese bulls. Check them out on Facebook at Schilling Cattle, or you can also watch the sale at TV Auction. The sale is located 6 miles north of the I-70 Exchange in Brewster, Kansas. Come check out great cattle, meet great people, and best of all, eat some fantastic food. So don't forget to mark your calendars for the Schilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th, 6 miles north of Brewster, Kansas.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Wednesday, March 26th. On the overnights last night, made corn higher a cent at 4.58 3/4. July up a quarter at 4.65 1/2. September down a cent at 4.41. December down a cent at 4.48. May soybeans up 3 cents on the overnight at 10.04 3/4. July up 2 3/4 at 10.18 1/4. August up 2 1/2 at 10.15. September up 2 3/4 at 10.04 1/4. Chicago wheat, the May contract lower 1 3/4 on the overnight at 5.41 1/2. July down 2 1/2 at 5.57 1/4. September down 2 3/4 at 5.73 3/4. December soft wheat down 3 1/2 at 5.96. Kansas City wheat, the May contract lower 1 1/2 at 5.67 3/4. July up down 1 1/4 at 5.83 1/2. September down 1 1/4 at 5.99 1/4. December hard wheat down a cent at 6.21 1/2. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $63 at 42,969. The S&P up $2.50 at 5,829. The Nasdaq down $11 at 20,477. Gold higher $8 an ounce at $3,033.90. Crude oil up 60 cents a barrel at 69.66. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call, John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Kochia ranks among the most troublesome weeds in fallow management systems. That's why Scorch EXT herbicide has received 24C registration for use in Kansas and Montana fallow. Scorch EXT controls Kochia plus other threatening broadleaf weeds like Canada and Russian thistle. Powered by Duplicent technology, this innovative three-way premix is developed in response to the rising storm of resistant Kochia, including types resistant to glyphosate, 2,4-D, or fluroxapyr. Take back control with Scorch EXT from New Farm.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game. Outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D, keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas is hiring now, looking for technicians of all levels and a service advisor to join their team. Enjoy competitive wages, consistent work, plus 401k and health benefits, all in a great work environment. If you're ready for a rewarding career with a trusted dealership, apply today. Visit them in person on South Commerce Road in Goodland or apply on Facebook. Join the Hurl Chevrolet GMC family today.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
Your daily dose of sports.
Something real quick I want to talk to before we get to Dan Lucero, our good friend from WIBW Sports. Coming up here on March the 31st at the Max Jones Fieldhouse, which I admit I'm kind of surprised that it's happening inside the Max Jones Fieldhouse, but I don't know where else you would have it happen. Going to be at 7 o'clock tonight. It's going to be the Dairyland Donkey Ball Basketball. And so I look forward to seeing how this all plays. You see real people riding around on donkeys playing basketball. There'll be local kids and athletes doing this. It's to help support the Goodland Junior class to benefit the Goodland Junior Senior Prom. So you can get your tickets. Should be very, very interesting. So once again, I expect there to be a big crowd to watch some donkey basketball. Speaking of donkeys, let's welcome in Dan Lucero. Good morning, Dan. How we doing?
Good morning, Ross. Nice digs, by the way. Love the neon sign in the background. Really classes the place up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was a gift from my wife for Christmas. And so, yes, it is a wonderful little addition. I've got some other ideas to add to the wall back here in time, I'm surprised we're not in the Lucero basement because usually I'm used to seeing, the great Rocky memorabilia behind you. And now we got these cool pennants instead.
Yeah, we're in the office today. In the office this morning, dropped Ash off at daycare this morning and made it into the office. And so, yeah, you're getting a look at the office up on Huntoon Hill in Topeka this morning. Can we double back to the donkey basketball real fast?
I would love to. What do you got?
I've done donkey basketball.
Where was it at? Please tell us the donkey basketball story.
Sutherland, Nebraska. So this is back when I was working in North Platte. It was my second job out of college. I was there 4 years. And they did donkey basketball. It was I don't even remember who it was raising money for. It might have been just Sutherland Public Schools. Sutherland, just west of North Platte there on I-80. And I was one of the celebrities, and I'm using the term extremely loosely, that was a part of this. And so, yeah, it is what it sounds like. You sit on a donkey, and there is a ball, and you try to advance the ball down the court. I don't think you have to dribble. I don't know that there are double dribble or traveling violations in donkey basketball. But you pass the basketball, and you shoot it. You try to score. And maybe your donkey wants to move. More likely it does not because these are stubborn animals, as you know. Anyway, it came to pass that I got the ball and I tried to advance it to one of my teammates, and she dropped it and it kind of grazed the donkey. And that's frowned upon. You're not supposed to hit the donkey with the basketball. And so they stop the game and they make a big deal about, oh, you hit the donkey with the basketball. You need to go apologize to the donkey. You need to go tell the donkey that you are sorry. So I dismounted my own donkey, and I went to the donkey that I hit with the basketball. And I, Dan Lucero, in front of God and everybody at Sutherland High School that night, kissed ass. And that is my donkey basketball story.
That's a great story. I am so glad I brought up donkey basketball this morning before we talked to Dan Lucero. That's great. We've had quite a day. We've had quite a year at the Max Jones Fieldhouse because this will be the second edition of live farm animals inside the Max Jones Fieldhouse. Because during the basketball season, they did a fundraiser to kiss a goat. And so, it was whoever paid the most money to these, it was like 5 or 6 people, most money in the box had to kiss the goat. And they had a couple people kiss the goat. So I tell you, the Max Jones Fieldhouse is turning to the Max Jones barn. Coming. But I look forward to seeing this on March 31st with some donkey basketball. But Dan Lucero, of course, joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Going to talk some baseball with us here in a bit. Before that, how's your bracket looking? How's the NCAA tournament bracket looking for you?
Yeah, fine. I mean, so my champion's still alive. I have Houston. I picked Houston back in November. I'm sticking with Houston. And I have them beating Auburn in the final. I have Duke in the Final Four. So yeah, there are parts of it that look pretty good. My UConn to the Final Four pick, man, I was close. I really felt good about them beating Florida until about the last 3 minutes of that basketball game. But that's the one that has blown up in my face a little bit, was thinking that UConn could put together some more tournament magic after winning the last two. They very nearly did, but Florida eked that one out. So 3 of my Final Four, my title game, my champ still intact. That's not bad. It's not good to have not have all your Final Four teams still left, but been a pretty chalky year. So if you hung with chalk, you're probably doing better than me.
I know that when I filled out my bracket, I was like, this is way too chalky. It's just way too chalky. It's like, it's not going to happen like this. But this year it kind of has. I mean, the question we talked about yesterday on the show, and you probably had this discussion on your guys' program is too, what are your thoughts on, is this year just kind of an abomination, or do you think this is a trend to come of maybe not having as many Cinderellas in the field of 16 going forward?
We had a bunch of them last year, right? And I've heard people have that take. It's like, well, this is what it's going to look like in this NIL era. Like, we've been in this NIL era for like half a decade now. Like, this is not brand new. This is not, the NIL and the transfer portal did not fall off the turnip truck. Like, this is something that we've been dealing with now for half a decade. Last year, there were a bunch of upsets. And there were, 2 years ago, 16 beat a 1. So I do think this is a bit of an aberration that I would not expect to see it look like this. I know who's thrilled that it does is the Power Conference commissioners, because the Sweet 16 is all power conferences, and this is their vision for the tournament, no question about it. But that's not great for us viewers. So, no, I believe this is an aberration. I certainly, for the sake of the tournament, hope it is.
Once again, Dan Lucero is our guest from WIBW Sports Talk. Okay, let's go into baseball here. I always like to start with bad news first and then end on good news and on a positive note. And so let's start with the team that you are donning today in your Purple Rockies. There has not been a whole lot of good news coming out of Rockies camp, it feels like, at least from what I have seen. I know recently had traded away Nolan Jones to bring in Tyler Freeman because the injury to Estrada was one of the reasons thought. What are your thoughts on just the spring training and what you've seen and heard from the Rockies? We all know offseason was absolutely nothing that happened. So what are your thoughts on what we've seen in spring training from the Rockies?
So it does certainly seem like they've got some young guys who are going to be ready to impact the major league roster, if not right away, then certainly by the middle of this season. And it's guys worth getting excited about. Zach Veen, former first-round pick, he won the spring training MVP award, had a really nice spring. He's an exciting player, and we're going to see him in Denver, I think, sooner rather than later. Chase Dolander, the first-round pick from 2 years ago, looks like maybe the best pitching prospect the Rockies have had since Ubaldo Jimenez. And that's not a slight to like John Gray, who was also a big deal prospect, but Dolander appears to be the real deal and somebody who could, as soon as he gets to Denver, I think is going to be their best starting pitcher. That's exciting stuff. Like there's some young guys with some real upside, not to mention guys who are going to make the big league club. Jordan Beck, Michael Tolley has already been there. He's got a chance to make a step forward this year. Obviously, we know about Brent Doyle, the Gold Glover, Ezekiel Tovar, the Gold Glover at shortstop. There are some young pieces that are intriguing. There's a bunch of guys in the bullpen who you'll get to know as the season goes on that have some electric arms. All that being said, man, they're going to be bad. They're going to not be a very good team. They're very clearly the worst team in the National League West, and it will take some doing to avoid a third straight 100-loss season. It will certainly be their 7th straight losing season, which is a new high water mark in futility for the Rockies organization, who knows a thing or two about high water marks and futility over the years. The stuff to get excited about is coming later on, and I think, again, there are reasons, if you want to squint, for optimism for the assembly of a young core that maybe late 2025, 2026 and beyond, you can start to get a little bit more excited about the big league product at 20th and Blake. But for 2025, strap in. Going to be another long one.
What about Antonio Senzatella? He's had a pretty good spring, hasn't he, for the most part?
He has. He has had a nice spring, and you feel happy for Antonio, who – he signed that 5-year, $50 million extension. Gosh, when was that? Before 2023. And he's barely pitched the last 2 years. When he has pitched, he hasn't been very good, but he's had the arm issue and he had the torn ACL and just has barely been able to get on the mound after signing that contract, which is Obviously a real bummer for a lot of reasons for the club and for the player. It's been great to see him have a good spring. I'm excited for that. I need to see him miss some bats in major league games. I need to see him get some strikeouts. He's not very good at that. 2023, the last time he pitched like meaningful innings, he was in fact the worst starting pitcher in baseball when it came to strikeouts per 9 that year before he ended up tearing his ACL. So I need to see him miss some bats in big league games before I get real excited about his progress. But on a human level, you feel good for him being back on the mound, everything he's been through. And I'm pulling for him because, a lot of those pitchers, like the whole pitching staff, if you went into a coma after 2018 and you woke up today and you look at the pitching staff and say, hey, Freeland, Marquez, Senzatella, these guys are still cooking. That's great. I'm sure the Rockies have been awesome since I went into this coma. No, man, sit down. I got to tell you about how they traded Nolan Arenado for a pack of Magic Beans and $50 million. So I'm rooting for him because the name brings back some good memories, but I'm skeptical. He's got to miss some bats.
Dan Lucero, our guest from WIBW Sports Talk here on the Morning Blitz. What do you expect to see out of Ezequiel Tovar this year?
I think he could be one of the best shortstops in baseball. The big thing for Tovar is he swings at everything. Pitches in the zone, pitches out of the zone, pitches that bounce to the plate, pitches that go into the first base dugout, low-hanging clouds, napkins falling from the club level. He swings at everything. And if he is a little more selective about swinging at the pitches that he can do damage on, the sky's the limit. All-star, 30 home runs. Like, he can be one of the premier shortstops in the game. It's kind of a neat thing. One of the few real things you'd be proud of, I think, if you're a Rockies fan, that there's been basically a ceaseless transformation at the shortstop position over the years to have gone from Troy Tulowitzki to Trevor Story to this guy, Ezequiel Tovar. He's already got the Gold Glove. I think he can be an all-star as soon as this year. Really exciting player. And if he makes better swing decisions, sky's the limit.
Let's transition to the Royals and end on a high note here. The Royals have a lot of great things going for them. Their offseason, I thought, was very successful. I feel like the only thing they really didn't do, personally, was they didn't find another bopper in the lineup to help power that offense. I don't know if there's anything they could have done. They solidified the pitching department. They still got Bobby Witt Jr., who's going to be in the MVP race. But maybe they're looking for something to trade deadline they could get to help in that lineup.
Yeah, they're a bat short. You and I are seeing eye to eye there. They made some overtures in the offseason. Sounds like they were serious about trying to get like Anthony Santander in free agency. That didn't work out. But yeah, you look at this lineup and you really like what they've done to fortify the top of it. They have a bona fide leadoff hitter in Jonathan India. That's going to help. That's going to make Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez, who are run producers in the middle of the order, that much more effective because they'll have more people on base. They'll have more traffic in front of them. It's 5 through 9 where you start to feel like, I don't know if there's enough here. Like Michael Massey's an above average offensive player. Freddie Fermin had a decent year before he completely hit a wall in September. MJ Melendez is the guy they're betting on. And I think that when you look at his numbers the last 3 seasons, you see a player who's actually kind of gotten worse in his first 3 years as a pro. But history will tell you that patience can pay off for the Royals, because it wasn't until year 4 that Mike Moustakas figured it out. And it wasn't really until year 3, year 4 that Eric Hosmer put it all together as a big league hitter. And the Royals, I think, are hoping for a similar breakout from MJ Melendez. He's tweaked his stance. The power, the athleticism are all there. It's just about making more contact. Again, making some better swing decisions. He's actually regressed at that. But if he can get back to his level of swing decisions he was making as a young player, as a rookie just out of the minor leagues, there is some upside for him. And if he meets it, that's the missing piece for this Royals lineup. If he doesn't, they're going to have to be active at the trade deadline to add another bat, because this is a crowded American League Central race. Nobody's great, but 4 teams are at least decent and have a chance to win this thing. And you don't want to dig yourself a hole early on because you don't have enough offense. So it'll be interesting to see how the Royals come out of the gate. For sure, they're a team that's going to lean primarily on their pitching and run prevention anyway, but they didn't have enough offense, and that's why they went home. That's why they didn't win the Central, and that's why they went home, lost to the Yankees in the playoffs last year. Do they have enough this year? It doesn't feel like they've added quite enough, but maybe MJ Melendez makes that a moot point, or maybe JJ Piccolo's working the phones come June, July looking for that extra piece.
Where does their pitching staff, top to bottom, from starters to closer, where does you think it sets up in the American League?
Everybody healthy, I think it's a top 5 pitching staff in the league without thinking too hard about it. I think that you've got durable innings eaters in the rotation, guys who miss bats like Cole Reagans. Cole Reagans' bona fide ace. Like, not every number 1 starter, opening day starter is an ace. And not every team has an ace. But Cole Reagans is a capital A ace. And then the number 2 starter was second in the Cy Young voting last year in Seth Lugo. So that's pretty good 1-2 to start with. Michael Wacha is dependable. Michael Lorenzen is fascinating because he made real tangible improvements in just 6 starts with the Royals after they got him last year. And if he can build on what he showed in those 6 starts, I think that he can be a very effective back of the rotation guy. Chris Bubich is really interesting too, back into the starting rotation, a guy who's making some adjustments, had a really nice spring. The bullpen's been fortified. Basically, it's the same bullpen that was awesome September to October last year, and they've added Carlos Estevez, a former All-Star and a dependable veteran, to that mix. So I really like how it sets up. The question for the Royals is going to be, they are probably not going to be so fortunate as to have their top 6 starting pitchers make 157 of 162 possible starts this year. That doesn't happen. You don't see that. It's more likely that they don't have their top 2 starting pitchers combined for 380, 390 innings. They're going to need some depth this year. The good news for the Royals, they didn't really have a lot of depth last season. This year, they've developed more of it. They've acquired more of it. They'll be in better shape if some injury calamities happen to befall some of their starting pitchers this year. But they're certainly in much better shape if that doesn't happen, and they can go get 200 innings from Lugo and 180 from Reagans and 165 from Wacha again.
Once again, Dan Lucero, our guest from WIBW Sports Talk. What's the next step for Bobby Witt Jr. besides winning, an MVP or whatever it may be? What's the next step for him?
I don't know, man, because the season he had last year is the best season in Royals history by wins above replacement. Like, I don't know where you go from there. He was unbelievable last season. That's a career year for a lot of guys. Like, for some all-time greats of the game, 2024 Bobby Witt Jr., the numbers he put up, the production he had, that's a career year. So he could be, and this is not like me exaggerating, he could be 20% worse than he was last season. And that sounds like a lot, right? That sounds bad. 20% worse. You know what 20% worse would be? An MVP. He could win the MVP and be 20% worse than he was last year. So it's about consolidating his gains, continuing to grow his power, maybe getting a little better on the base paths. He kind of regressed last year as a base stealer, got caught a few more times than you were used to seeing. So maybe being more efficient as a base stealer, continuing to improve his defense, even though he won a Gold Glove last year. Not all of the metrics agreed with his defensive improvement. So there's still some young player improvements that he can make. But if 2024 Bobby Witt Jr. is who he's going to be for the next 10 years, enjoy the ride, because that dude is awesome and very easily could win an MVP this year and be not as good as he was last year. That's how good he was last year.
Dan Lucero, our guest. Who is kind of that one team that could make a deep postseason run that most people wouldn't, if you had to make a prediction? One team that could make a deep postseason run that most people maybe wouldn't see that happening.
A sleeper, if you will.
Yes, a sleeper. That's a good word. Thank you. A sleeper. That's why you're at WIBW. Big words.
You're looking for a sleeper. I don't know how many people are on this bandwagon. More and more, I think, nationally are, but I would not be surprised if the Boston Red Sox are the best team in the American League East. I really like their additions, Garrett Crochet, who they got from the White Sox, and Alex Bregman, who they signed from Houston. I think Boston could be really good. I think most people look at the East and assume Baltimore and the Yankees. I think the Yankees have taken a big step back. I wouldn't be surprised if they missed the playoffs, to be honest. They're really going to miss Garrett Cole. Luis Heal's out for the first half of the season. That's not great. So Boston is a team that I think is operating a little bit under the radar. If you want a deep sleeper, Cincinnati in the National League Central. I really like their young talent. Ellie De La Cruz is like one of the most exciting players in baseball. They've got some young arms that are intriguing. That's a team that could potentially put it all together and win a very winnable National League Central. So there's a couple for you.
So you've got the Dodgers and who playing in the World Series?
Yeah, the Dodgers. Yeah, man, they're really
Trust me,
good.
I'm not excited about that either. You know me.
Look, stuff happens. The playoffs are very random. You can be an 84-win team like the Diamondbacks 2 years ago and go to the World Series. So no guarantees, but certainly the smart money is with the team with the most money and the best roster and the best players. And the Dodgers are that. Watch out for the Mets and the Phillies and even the Braves. But I would pick the Dodgers out of the National League. Out of the American League, we're going to do our prediction show today on 580 Sports Talk, and I might waffle on this. I might have a different answer at like 4 o'clock Central Time
later today.
I may have a completely different answer, but let's go with the Rangers. I think they might have the clearest path in that American League West. Jacob deGrom is healthy. Wyatt Langford's ready to bust out. They should be a little healthier this year than they were last year. Let's go with the Rangers to make it to a second World Series in 3 years.
Interesting stuff. Dan Lucero, our guest here from WIBW Sports Talk. I got one more on the Rockies for you, and I'm sure there's some. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm sure there's people wondering. You talk about all the good young talent that the Rockies have. How come they don't bring those guys up and have them playing from day one? What's the reasoning behind that?
Because Bud Black has a veteran fetish.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Bud Black just loves playing 35-year-old guys who can't really hit. And play like 5 positions. It's his favorite thing. He loves those guys. He wants as many of them on the roster as possible. That's why you're going to see a lot of Kyle Farmer. That's why Nick Martini made the team over Zach Veen. Bud Black loves veterans, just loves them, and prefers to have them on his team. I don't know why. I feel like he should know better by now, but it is what it is.
He likes playing a lot of Ross Volkmer is what you're saying. 35 and can't hit.
There you go. Hey, if you can stand at 4 different positions, you show up to Coors Field. They might sign you.
I can do that, and I can swing at napkins falling out of the stands. I can do that too. Dan Lucero, WIBW Sports Talk. Dan, it's always great to catch up, my friend. Thank you very much for the insight on the Major League Baseball and, of course, for donkey basketball stories. That was fantastic.
Hey, my pleasure, Ross. And real quick, while I'm talking to the good folks of Northwest Kansas, want to congratulate the Goodland boys and especially the Colby girls on great basketball seasons. I was in Colby when that class of seniors now for the Colby girls, Elizabeth Barton, Brent Stanley, Allie Flanagan, Logan Nolan, when they were freshmen. I remember seeing them when I was doing games out there in Colby and thinking, that's a group that has a chance to be pretty good. So it was very cool to see them, Coach Yancey Walker, make it to state, win a game out there in Hutch. Very, very happy for them. So big congratulations to those athletes out in Northwest Kansas that had great basketball seasons.
Absolutely was. Dan, my friend, thank you so much. We'll catch up soon, all right?
Always a pleasure. Let's do it.
Once again, great stuff there from Dan Lucero here on the Morning Blitz. All right, let's get to a break. We'll come back. We got about 5 minutes left to go before the show ends. We'll get to some local baseball and softball news, some also track and field news as well, and also get some information on the NFL as some big players are changing spots, going to new teams. We'll get to that next here on a Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz. Stick around.
Let me tell you about my broker, Craig Townsend. He's not your everyday land broker. Craig's an accredited land consultant. And in 2023, he was named Colorado's Land Broker of the Year. Yeah, that's the real deal. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, Craig's got you covered. You want someone who's been there and done that? That's Craig. Find him at ranchbrokers.com/Craig and put the best in the business to work for you.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
You're listening to the Morning Blitz
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
with Ross Volkmer.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Blitz on a Wednesday morning. Once again, going to be a warm day today. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Could see a little bit of wind blowing around today, especially in the afternoon. Could get a little bit blustery, maybe not as calm as it's been the last couple of days. I'm so glad we had Dan Lucero on. It's so great for him to join us and talk some Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball season gets going tomorrow. Thursday is opening day. Kind of interesting. You got Sweet 16 and opening day all on the same day. At least it's opening day for 28 of the 30 teams, and the two teams that are not playing opening day, one of those is the Colorado Rockies. They will wait and play on Friday afternoon to open up their season with a 2:10 Mountain Time first pitch. And, of course, a friendly reminder that the Rockies are once again back on AM 730 KLOE. So if you want to catch Rockies baseball all season long, thanks to our sponsors and getting the Rockies back on AM 730 KLOE, and we'll have our first game of the season, first game of 162 coming up here on Friday, 2:10 Mountain Time first pitch. As for our Royals fans, that season begins at 3:10 Central, 2:10 Mountain Time tomorrow at home against the Cleveland Guardians for game number 1 of 162. But opening day of the Major League Baseball season is tomorrow. Thanks to our listeners that have chimed in throughout the show. Michael, Sarah, Brian, appreciate the messages on the FB Bank text line today. Great to have people tune in and listen and give their thoughts and comments and keep me company when we don't have guests on. Some local news real quick before we get to the walk-off. Colby Community College baseball kept it rolling. They have now won what is 8 in a row and 10 of their last 12 to get to 18-10. They swept Otero Junior College at Young Memorial Field yesterday, 9-7, and then game 2 was a tight one, 13-12. The Trojans get a couple of wins. They are back in Jayhawk Conference play tomorrow at Dodge City for a doubleheader. Also, a shout out to redshirt sophomore pitcher Matt McKenzie, as he was named the pitcher of the week in the KJCCC. So he earned himself a really nice honor there. Allowed 4 hits and struck out 8 in the game. Picking up his first pitching victory of the year, but he was the KJCCC pitcher of the week with that performance. Colby Community College softball, a doubleheader today down at Garden City. Should have some nice weather for that. Lady Trojans enter the game winners of 5 in a row after a great weekend this past weekend. They are 22-13. And also a shout out to Fort East Tech Northwest sprinter. I think it's Michaela Coombs. I could be saying that name wrong. I'm sorry. It looks like Michaela. It could be Michaela, but I'm going to say Michaela Coombs. She earned herself the Kansas Jayhawk Community College Conference Women's Outdoor Track and Field Athlete of the Week. She ran a school record 25.33 in the 200 meters at the West Texas Relays. She finished in 5th at the NJCAA event, but once again, a school record 25.33 in the 200 meters, earning her the Jayhawk Conference Outdoor Track and Field Athlete of the Week. Congratulations, Michaela Coombs. All right, we got to get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Some NFL news here in the walk-off. The Giants continuing to add to their quarterback room. They recently reached a deal with former Brown and Buccaneer Jameis Winston. And now Russell Wilson is going to be joining the New York Football Giants on a 1-year deal worth up to $21 million, including $10.5 million guaranteed. So Russell Wilson going back to the place where he won his Super Bowl, back there at MetLife Stadium. So we'll see. They've got Wilson, they have Winston, and they got Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito. They should start him. He's just too New Yorker. They should do that. And then Stephon Diggs agreeing to a 3-year, $69 million deal with the Patriots. So 3-year, $69 million deal with New England. Stephon Diggs trying to add a weapon to help out young quarterback Drake May. So they've already signed a few other guys, has New England, Mac Hollins, Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas. Some of the guys are going to be near the top of that depth chart, but New England trying to get some weapons for Drake May to see what they have. So there you go. A couple of new faces in new places in the NFL. Not Tommy DeVito, though. No, he's good to go. Also, NCAA tournament resuming action tomorrow. It's the highest viewership in decades. In fact, it's been the most watched tournament in 32 years. In the second round, they averaged 9.4 million viewers. Unbelievable. Sunday, they had 10.1 million viewers. So highest watch NCAA tournament, despite not having any real Cinderellas. People love the Blue Bloods. Thanks again to Dan Lusser of WIBW Sports Talk. Thanks to you for all the listeners. We're back again tomorrow for a Thursday edition of the Morning Blitz. Hope you'll join us then. Have a good day.
Rocket 102.5 KKCI. Good